On to number 3. Number 3 is liver 3 and it's called the third interval. The location here is on the posterior surface of the hand, on the radial side of the second metacarpal, proximal to the second metacarpal phalangeal joint, proximal to the flare of the head of the second metacarpal bone, between the head of the second metacarpal and the first dorsal intersclerosis muscle. So, referring back to this picture, as it's got a lot of the structure very simply to be seen on the hand, and we're going to look straight onto this. So again, proximal to the second metacarpal phalangeal joint, and these are the phalanges and metacarpals here, proximal to the flare of the head of the second metacarpal bone, so here again, and between the head of the second metacarpal and the first dorsal intersclerosis muscle. So we're really looking for here, around this point. There we go. Okay, I'm going to place this here. I'm going to turn the hand slightly over now. And we're going to look at large intestine 4. Mark that there for a minute and I will come back to there. So looking at large intestine 4, joining of the valleys. This is a source point, it's an entry point. On the posterior surface of the hand, between the proximal ends of the first and second metacarpal bones, just distal to the flare of the base of the second metacarpal bone on its radial surface. So we have Grant here, and this should just run along the meridian, along the flow of this channel. We're going to feel for the base of the second metacarpal bone here, just distal to the flare of this base of this second metacarpal bone on its radial surface. So I'm going to place here. I think I will place that point there. Because there's a nice well down in that point. Large intestine 5, the Yang stream. The location of this is on the radial surface of the flexure of the wrist. The radial surface of Grant is here. This is his radial bone running along this part of his arm. On the radial surface of the wrist flexure of the wrist, between the tip of the stelenoid process of the radius and the scaphoid bone, between the tendons of the extensor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis muscles, in the anatomical snuff box. Now, I'm going to move Grant's hand here from side to side, and here in his hand, what I should do is just feel a nice gap down here in his hand, there. hold on to this position for a second. I know where it is roughly. But if I come back to the pictures here and we scroll up, I should find one here which will show the wrist flexure and the snuff box. And the picture I'm looking for, I believe, is this one, and I believe that we're looking just here. Again, and that is quite easy to locate if you're moving their hand around. So I'll put number 5 in there. Large intestine 6, side passage. Now this is going to go onto this area of the arm. So what I'm going to do is mark up my sun measurements on this part of the arm. Sun measurements will generally here go between the points. So again, firstly I'll go and look for the crease in the elbow joint. And that's where I'll find it here. Look here for this point. And the wrist flexure here. I'm lucky with Grant, his wrist crease is there. So the point I'm looking for is between here and here, and this is where I'd like to put my 12 marks. So as with Jake's arm, when we marked up the lung meridian, I'm going to aim here to mark this meridian here with a piece of paper that I am dedicating to Grant's arm. Yeah, that's the right length. So in an ideal world I would have had this little piece of paper prepared a lot earlier, and I'd cut it with no serrated edges here. But by folding this little piece of paper in half, I can see that that's the halfway point. It's just a tad over the length of my pen that way, and just a tad over the length of my pen that way. Folding the paper again, here and here. We'll find the midway point here. And it will be the same here. Okay, as you can see, that is just in the centre of my fingers. And again, just in the centre in here.